Blog Talk Radio.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host Marty McDermott with my co-host Don Johnson, and if you ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show this morning. We're meeting with Jerry Egner, the CEO of Closets by Design. And since 1982, Closets by Design has built a reputation as the nation's leader in the closet organizing and storage remodeling industry. And that's coming up in segment 2 of Franchise Interviews, so stick around because we got a great show.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Who's helping build America one small business at a time? Franchise Inc., a free consulting service.
For years, Franchise Inc., a national company, has been helping people franchise their business concept and help folks like you own a franchise.
With over 2,500 franchise systems out there, it can be awfully confusing. Don't take chances with your future. At Franchise Inc., we've done the homework for you. We can help match your interest and background with the franchise that's right for you. And we only work with proven franchise systems with a solid reputation and track record of success.
The consultants at Franchise Inc. can help you with your short and long-term wealth strategy.
Give us a call today and we'll send you free our best-selling book, Solving the Puzzle of Owning a Franchise.
Remember, it's not just owning a franchise, but finding the right one for you. Call us at 800-961-0420 for a quick consultation to discuss what's important to you, your business, and your future.
The service is free. The book is free. What do you have to lose? Find the business that's right for you.
Call Franchise Inc. at 800-961-0420. That's Franchise Inc. at 800-961-0420.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host Marty McDermott, my co-host Don Johnson, and if you ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. How you doing today, Don? Happy holidays. Welcome back.
Yeah, same to you, Marty. I'm doing fine. How about yourself this week?
Good, good. Feeling a little bit under the weather. You know, I think I might have caught your cold from New Jersey or something. It's
it's a tough time of the year. There's a lot of people getting sick.
busy, and I think everything just catches up with you, But definitely looking forward to the holidays and vacation and all that other stuff. It's really as I say, the most wonderful time of the year. Really excited for the remainder of the month. So
take some time off and relax, be with family. Yeah, it's
absolutely
nice.
All that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But our last showdown, we met with Amit Kleinberger, who is the CEO of the franchise opportunity Menchie's. And Menchie's is the brainchild of Dana and Adam, or it's actually Donna and Adam. And Donna was on the show with us as well. It's kind of interesting to have the creator of that whole concept, be on the show with Amit, the CEO. And I thought it was an interesting concept. What were your thoughts on last week?
Yeah, it must be pretty satisfying for her, seeing the franchise grow and having someone like Amit with his background, the CEO running the franchise. And, we've had these types of franchises on before where it's a happy atmosphere type franchise, and it's going to be real interesting to see how a lot of these franchises do. There's been a lot that have started. I guess it's the frozen yogurt category. He said it's one of the hottest QSR segment right now. We see how it all shakes out and which ones thrive, and just in general the whole industry for that specific type of product, how it does, because there's about 4 or 5 real hot franchises in this specific category, and we'll have to keep an eye on it and see how it does. But they seem like they know what they're doing. They got some pretty big goals.
Yeah, they do. They have some pretty big goals. As you said, it must be very satisfying her. It's a wonderful story too. How you asked the question, how do they come up with the name and things like that, And I always think that those things, it seems little. It really adds to the character of the store or the franchise. I just thought it was a wonderful story.
And, that's a good question. I'm thinking to myself, Menchie's. How the heck did you come up with that name?
Exactly.
That's the stuff that's curious to me. And I've asked that a few times on previous shows.
Yeah.
When it was kind of a different type of franchise. That's very important. The name of your franchise, how easy to remember. What does your logo look like? What's your slogan? Stuff like that's very key.
Yeah, all that marketing stuff. And, you were saying, too, this is a feel-good franchise, it is one, there's so many different choices out there today. I think we're up to, about 80 different industries, and there's, about 3,000 different choices within those 80 industries. And, if you're someone who likes to, let's say, put a smile on someone's face, then this might be, the kind of franchise for you,
Right.
Again, you do need, I think you need strong interpersonal skills, to be in this type of franchise. It's really getting out and getting involved with the community. And if you don't like that, then it's not for you. But if you do like that stuff, then, this could be a great business opportunity for your franchise opportunity, I should say.
Yeah, exactly.
So as I said, we'll keep our eye on them as we always do, and invite them back in the following years. As it looks like there's going to be some significant growth with this franchise, and good luck to them. So good concept. One of the things I wanted to talk about before we get to articles and things like that is, 2009 was, I think, you and I have been involved in franchising 10 years, and I think it's been one of the most interesting years that we've been involved in the business. Interesting is probably having a nice word, isn't it? Maybe stressful or
most challenging.
Challenging is probably a better way to describe it. Did you want to talk about, the year 2009 for our listeners? What it brought or what opportunities?
Well, what was the big news of the year? Obviously, the economy still rough, and we read a lot of articles about franchises. How do they adjust to a real tough economy when maybe you can't grow more units as quickly because financing, another big part of it, is very rough. So we read a lot of creative things that franchisors are doing to add units. Some were just cutting back their growth to just make sure their system, their existing franchisees, they maybe have a better chance of growing, or just strengthening their system altogether without maybe adding units, because with financing being so bad. Obviously that's everybody knows that's my main business, and it's been the worst since the Great Depression, just the credit markets and financing. So with that so tough, I guess we read about franchisors giving discounts on franchise fees and just a lot of different types of ways to give the investor some added edge to try to invest in the franchise. So
more value,
right.
for their buck. It's and I agree with everything that you said. There's been a lot of thinking outside the box. And I think you and I, being like marketing people, we always love that creativity that you see. That franchisors have come up with. In fact, I don't know if we've mentioned this before. One of the things we've seen in 2009 is this is a $5 meal. That I think Subway was actually the originator of that whole $5 thing. And the whole thing about that too, Don, was that came from a franchisee. It was their idea to come up with that. But you've seen a lot of the other franchises do the same thing. They have a $5 menu. I think KFC did it.
Right.
Arby's did it. And that really added to the competition. You follow what your competition's doing. You say, wow, that's a clever idea.
Right.
And who really benefits is the consumer. I think the consumer's got some great benefits. We heard a lot during the year, too, about getting some killer locations.
I was just going to mention that, some positive things, even though things are rough with the economy and financing and, just people going out of business and the franchising industry going down as a whole. I think from articles you read, industry went down 2% overall, much better than a lot of other industries. But, then there's the advantages that people could take from these rough times, like people who are leasing space. This has been a big-time buyer's market. People who may be opening up something like a Menchie's can get just a lease at a great price with incentives and sometimes tenant improvement money, landlord money back to them afterwards after their store's built out, things like that. And then on the financing end, Marty, these have been the lowest rates in 5 years for people to get financing if they could get a loan.
Exactly.
So some of those things, maybe businesses with a franchisor has their suppliers set up. I'm sure they're getting discounts during these times. So, those are some of the positive things people can do. And there's been a lot of success stories, people opening up a business during a downtime. Some of your biggest, most successful companies opened up in a recession.
Oh, yeah, that's excellent points, and lots of cases that you can reference if we had the time. There's been a lot of franchises out there, as you mentioned. They've actually waived the franchise fee, and for our listeners who are, new to franchising or considering franchising, or maybe you're listening for the first time, typically when you buy a franchise, there's a franchise fee, and it could typically, I think the average, and you might know this, Don, the average franchise fee, would you say, is about $40,000?
Right.
I mean, it could be more
in that
than
$20,000 to $40,000 range.
Yeah, I mean, somewhere in that range, is typically what you pay is a franchise fee. It's very, very common that you pay that. A lot of some big name franchises actually waived the franchise fee. I think Papa John's might have been one of them. Right. We've had other examples that you reference, on the current events and things like that. Some getting 2-for-1 deals, you know what I mean, or
which is really incredible, and that money can be used for your working capital once you open the business, because franchisors, they mainly make their money on the royalty fees.
Right.
But you're paying a percentage, usually in the 5-6% range, and it could be a 1 or 2% advertising budget mixed in there, but that's what makes franchising work, paying the royalty. Money well worth it you're paying back to the franchisor, because they're promoting your business nationwide, and they're making sure that the system is solid and working, and everybody benefiting.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. Something also that, you mentioned a lot. I always find segment 1 of our show very informative. I think there's been a new pool of prospective franchisees. I think, or I feel that there's a higher quality franchisee out there. Maybe I would say, it's probably a bad word, higher quality, but a different type of franchisee than we've had in the past. And what I'm referencing is more, there's been a lot of downsizing over 2009. People have got laid off from their jobs, and we've seen a lot of people coming from corporate America shifting to buying a franchise for a number of different reasons. They're burned that they worked for a company for 20, 30 years, and they got their walking papers just like that, like it was nothing. And I think a lot of people said, you know what, I'm not going to do this again. I'm not going to invest.
Exactly. Good point. I spoke to a guy yesterday in his mid-50s. He's been laid off twice, basically worked between 8 to 10 years from each company, and he's at the point now where people have lost confidence in the workforce and in corporate America, and this person is at a crossroads. What do I do? He's emotional. He's part angry, part just losing the confidence and going back into it. And now sometimes it's tougher to get that same level job or get the same level pay.
Right.
And so a lot of people want to have a little more, they just want to feel a little more secure, control their own destiny.
Yeah.
And that's where franchising can be an option. Where and a faster way to profitability as opposed to a non-franchise. That's why we're big fans. You get the ongoing support, the initial training. Franchisors don't want to see, if you choose the right franchise, and we've talked about doing due diligence and not rushing into making a decision, but if you choose the right franchise, and we're big proponents of speaking to a franchise consultant, because there are so many industries, upwards of 3,000 or more franchises, then you get trained, open the franchise, you're faster to be profitable, and it's all about a lot of times owning multiple units and growing and becoming the entrepreneur, which is another topic of our franchisees, entrepreneurs.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's something you mentioned about the whole franchise broker thing. One of the things I learned from the show in general, not even from the last year, the franchise brokers that we've had on the show, I've been very, very impressed with. I always had mixed feelings in the beginning, and then we had guys like from Franchise Inc. On the show, and there was a couple others. We had Joe LaBava on the show. I mean, those guys. I mean, they really know what they're talking about. And they put things in a way where you say, I never thought about it from that perspective. But again, there's a lot of them out there today. I think I still have the feeling that there are good franchise brokers and not so good franchise brokers. It's probably like real estate agents. You know what I mean? You have great real estate agents, and then you have some who are just like so. Well,
it's the same with franchising. You have some franchise systems, unfortunately, aren't that good. It's why you got to do your homework. But with a franchise consultant or broker, they can really make you find out to ask questions about yourself you might not have thought of, because it's a long-term commitment, and it can be a big part of your life, and you want to make sure you're going to enjoy the work and just know all aspects of it. Like, for example, if you're a people person or not.
Right.
Do you want to go out and get the business, or you want to have people come to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
So all these things are so important, and but what do you think, Marty? As we go into 2010, what do you think? Some of the things you're thinking about for next year.
Well, I think, I mean, as they say, the recession. This is what they say. I don't know whether it's true or not. I mean, they say the recession is over. That they're seeing, positive signs. I think you probably have seen it as well, that the economy is bouncing back. I think this is a great time to get into franchising if you've done your due diligence, and you're kind of set. And if it's something that requires a killer location, this might still be the time to do it, because I think a lot of people are going to be kicking themselves in maybe a year or so, saying, damn, I wish I bought into that franchise system, where they waived the franchise fee. I could have got a killer lease at a great rate, and now I got to pay extra for it. So I think there's going to be a lot of people kicking themselves,
I think you're right. This is a good time over the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Because things are still rough with the economy, and it's slow moving to come back. But for the most part, top economists have said that we might be through the worst of it.
Right.
But then people can still take advantage of the low rates for loans and the leasing space, like what you talked about, if that's the type of franchise you're doing.
Yeah.
So I guess we have to be more optimistic going into this next year.
And I am. I'm totally optimistic about what's going to happen in the whole franchise community. In 2010, I think it's going to be an incredible year. Again, we haven't seen anything like this. I got involved in franchising in I think it was 1999, 1998, Don. I think it was like maybe a year before you got involved. But, I mean, here we've been doing this for a decade already. We've seen a lot happen in that 10-year period of time. If you even talk about the last decade, I mean, the number of franchise systems that just have been created in that 10-year period of time. When I got involved, I think it was like the number that I used to see referenced all the time was like 1,400, 1,500 different types of franchise systems. It's doubled in a 10-year period of time. Now we're up to 3,000. I'm curious, could it go up to 6,000 systems in another 10 years, you know?
Right.
I don't know, you know? I mean, I think at some point it's got to there's got to be a breaking point, I think, you know?
How many different businesses and services are there?
How many different industries, you know? I mean, again, I think we're like up to 75, 80. You see different numbers, you know, depending on what source you're reading. But it really is incredible. And, you know, you came up with a great quote. We were interviewed by the Eastern Pennsylvania Business Journal, you know, used that word, forced entrepreneurship, you know, which I thought was just a wonderful word. And I think that was one of the themes also of 2009 as well, you know. So, yeah.
What are people going to do? It's interesting.
They have to do something.
Your point before, you know, was very interesting, and that there's a lot better quality. There's more people, a lot more experience, maybe a better overall franchisee with their background and experience, who, you know, maybe have families and the kids are growing a little bit and they're going into college and don't have time for that 2, 3, 4 year curve before a business is profitable.
Right.
So they want to buy an existing business. Sometimes that can be quite expensive. Or go into franchising.
And these people that we're talking about, too, and I'm talking about the people from corporate America that were downsized. I mean, we're talking millions of people. They're probably not entrepreneurs. In other words, when I say they're not entrepreneurs, they're probably not people who will go out and actually create a system, you know what I mean, or a franchise or a product or something like that. So I believe that, you know, they might make fantastic franchisees, because, you know, even when we had Dr. Hayes on the show, he said, you know, franchising is definitely not for everyone. In fact, it's probably not for most people, because you do have to have the ability to follow a system. And again, it's just my guess that I bet you a lot of those people from corporate America would be able to follow a system, because most businesses, if you think about it, you know, Microsoft or whoever it may be, I mean, you're pretty much following a system, if you think about it. You know, those are all systems. They're not franchise systems, but they're still systems. You have to be able to follow rules and things like that. And
that's why a lot of franchisors have gone after people in the military.
True.
There's been another
great topic that I'd like to discuss, you know, in 2010, you know, and have maybe the people from VetFran, you know, join our show and have them on the show and, you know, speak to them about it. But, so I'm really excited about what 2010 is going to bring to the franchise community. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to see a lot of great things. And
we'll be on top of that, more great shows. We're looking forward to this next year with more statistics, information, anything about franchising, any of the latest trends and news. We'll be on top of all that, of course.
We'll be on top of all of it. And, again, we're just celebrating our third year of doing the show. It's just been amazing. We have listeners from all over the world.
Right.
You know? I mean, it's just amazing when I go into, you know, tracking, you know, where our listeners are coming from. And, again, the majority are within the United States. But it's always, you know, fun to
we've had some people making comments about me. I talk too fast, or I'm not that funny. People from Sweden, from Africa.
If you know, I mean, you have listeners in Turkey. Could you imagine that? I mean, it's just incredible that people are, you know, whether they're listening to the live version of the show or the archive version, it's just really been incredible that here we are 3 years later doing it. I don't know if you and I knew. You know, we hoped that the show would be successful, but you know.
Well, that's another thing about, you know, internet radio being the fastest growing radio. It's really coming into its own. We have so many more listeners and people listening to the podcast, going to the website. So that's only going to get better for next year. And we have a big announcement that we'll make early part of the year about what we're doing with the show, and we'll hold off on that. So we're excited about what's going to happen next year as far as what's going on with us and the show.
And I think that thing that you're referencing, I think that's going to have a big impact on the whole franchise community as well. You know what I mean? It's and again, we won't mention it yet, but it's an incredible idea. So I'm really excited about that as well. It have a big dent in the whole franchise community. So and we're part of all that. You know what I mean? So you know, and I think, you know, our record is that, you know, we are the biggest franchise show on the planet Earth. You know, I don't think anyone has been doing it as long or has as many listeners. And when I go back and I look at the podcast, you know, at how many people actually listen to our Great Quotes and Franchising podcast, it just blows me away sometimes,
Right.
Because I don't think we've done a lot of promotion on the Greek Quotes and Franchising podcast, but yet, people are listening to it. It's just, it's unbelievable. We got some pretty big names on those podcasts, by the way. I mean, Michael Gerber, George Nadeff,
Yeah.
It's just very, very informative. If you want to learn about franchising in one day, I suggest listening to the podcast, But again, listening to our show alone, 151 shows, again, you'll know more about franchising than anyone on the planet Earth. I think you have a good idea as far as what franchise you'd want to go into after listening to our show for, that period of time. So
just getting back to internet radio for a second, I don't think we would have been interested in doing this type of show if it was just a on regular radio, just having a regional type of show. I think we were attracted to this because of the national, international aspect of it, and the growth of this particular form of radio, and what the future is. I mean, we want to get the show out to the masses, which is what we're doing.
Yeah.
There's so much more, potential. We can be doing, 20 times,
exactly.
what our goal is of, getting out to people listening. So it's only going to get better as we go along.
Yeah, well, the numbers go up every single month, which is always a good sign. You know what I mean? Ever since we've been doing the show, the listenership goes up every single month. And,
haven't some of our, don't we usually have more listeners when I do more of the talking on the show?
I've noticed a trend, yeah. It's that's some deep analysis, you know what I mean, as far as we'll go back to our highest top 10 shows, to date. I mean, it still is, it's interesting. Michael Gerber, number 1, and then Michael Gerber, number 2, because we've had him on the show twice already up to this point. It's amazing that I would say the cult following that he has, but, I mean, thousands of people, listen to those shows. I think between both shows, it's probably over, 10,000 listens, It's just unbelievable.
Right.
You just say Michael Gerber, and that's it. Everybody comes, So
right.
I'd like to have him back in 2010 as well, on the show, because I know he's doing some interesting things as well. And I think he has some great advice to our listeners as well, So
we've had a lot of interesting personalities, a lot of people who inspire us, a lot of interesting stories on how people started up the franchise and real success stories, not just of the franchisee, but how the franchise system started. We both love hearing those stories.
Well, when we first started the show, 3 years ago, I was asked, who would I like to interview most on the show? And I said Michael Gerber. And then sure enough, he becomes a friend to the show. So I never imagined in my wildest dreams, being able to speak to someone like that. Now, we're going to have him back in 2010. So
definitely.
So good job, Don, on segment 1. And I see Jerry's called in. So why don't we take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Now.
Okay, you've got my attention.
It's a rare event in the world of franchising when an opportunity comes your way that can and will thrive in almost any economic environment. It's here, and its name is Big Mouth Advertising.
Big Mouth.
BMA is a leader in the exciting world of mobile media advertising. Why is mobile media advertising able to defy the economic cycles? The answer is obvious. In times of economic weakness, advertising is crucial for survival as the consumer dollar is scarce and the competition fierce. What is mobile media? It's the newest and fastest growing segment in the advertising world. Mobile media brings the message directly to the consumer. Mobile media goes to the consumer in traffic, where he eats and where he plays. It quite simply cannot be turned off or thrown out. And when you join the Big Mouth team as a franchisee, you are joining the best. The Big Mouth advantage is simple and successful. We invest in a strong infrastructure and in great people. As a franchisee, you have access to this entire system, including telemarketing, sales maximization, general and administrative support, design and creative services, even billing and collection services. All you need is a mobile media vehicle, a driver, and the willingness to create a financially sound and limitless business for yourself. There are no long-term leases to sign, no expensive build-outs, no office personnel to hire. You will be part of the Big Mouth advertising community and share its entire website and reception services, as well as its complete back-office services. This virtual office guarantees you the freedom to close those sales that will make you a success. We are so proud of our successes that we have voluntarily disclosed our revenue statements. Now, how many other franchises are doing that? Even in these historically rough financial times, Big Mouth Advertising has become a dominant force in the mobile media industry. Join the Big Mouth team and take the first step toward financial freedom. Please call Ron at 888-98-GO-BIG. That's 888-98-GO-BIG. Big Mouth! Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. Today's show is being brought to you by Franchise Times Magazine. Franchise Times is the only publication that targets both franchisors and multi-unit franchisees, and is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a business. And as we were saying earlier, Don, we got a great show today because we're meeting Jerry Egner, the CEO of Closets by Design. And since 1982, Closets by Design has built a reputation as the nation's leader in the closet organizing and storage remodeling industry. Hey, Jerry, happy holidays. How are you today?
Good morning, gentlemen. Happy holidays.
Oh, thanks, Jerry. Jerry, joining us is my co-host, Don Johnson, and I know, Don, you wanted to say happy holidays to Jerry.
Don, happy holidays.
You there,
yeah.
Don? Oh,
did we lose him?
I don't know if we lost him. But anyway, Jerry, you got me right now. So
people.
Maybe Don's on a bathroom break or something.
Sorry about that, guys. No, I was hearing you for some reason. Yeah, Jerry, happy holidays, and appreciate you coming on. I was just saying that this is a big time of the year for, I guess, your franchise, and people getting all these gifts and presents. I mean, they need closets, more space to put all this stuff in. So I imagine you probably get pretty busy at the beginning of the year.
We do, actually. January is the biggest month of the year for us in the way of lead generation, and so we're excited for the upcoming year, and
that's great.
We're looking forward to a great 2010.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we were just saying earlier in the show, Jerry, on segment 1, we were talking about how optimistic we are about 2010. We know that 2009 was a tough year for the franchise community, and just really overall for everyone, So just excited about, the upcoming year. We always like to ask our guest, Jerry, where are you calling from this morning?
Sunny California.
Oh, nice. Well, it's just cold here on the Northeast. It's very windy, and we got hit with a lot of snow so far, so it must be nice to be in California.
Oh, it is. We're right now. We're off to a bright and sunny day. It's about 55 degrees right now, and we're looking forward to a nice day.
That's great.
That's happened a lot lately, Marty. We have a lot of people who've been on from California. We always feel a little guilty because we make people come on so early.
It is true.
Yeah. I'm typically on the 405 freeway right now, so this is nice.
There you go. Jerry, what were you doing before getting involved with Closets by Design?
Well, I was the founder of a closet company back in 1982 when the industry was still trying to figure out how to communicate what it is that we did. And that was from 82 to 1990 where I joined Closets by Design to help them grow the business, and here we are.
That's fantastic.
So tell us a little bit about the company, Jerry, the history, when you started franchising.
Well, again, we started in 1982, and Closets by Design also started in 1982. And kind of fast forward from 1982 to 1990, the business had grown from from zero to about $3 million. From 1990 to 1997, we took the business from a $3 million business to a $10 million business. At which point, like most franchisors, we thought, okay, well, we know what we're doing, so why don't we franchise?
Right.
And that's when I launched the franchise company. And like most franchisors, we learned quickly that it's a little more to it than just knowing your business, and it's important to know how to be a franchisor. So we went through that curve, which was an experience.
Why did you think that this was such a fit for the franchise model?
Well, again, we had a very successful business, and our business is a little different in the fact that our franchisees manufacture their own products. So there's a lot of moving parts, and we felt we had that under control and a model that we could roll out to the franchise system. And we started off with a very successful launch of franchise sales, and we brought in some franchisees that fortunately were strong franchisees. And during that time, we really had to adjust to how to communicate to the franchisees and how to help them grow their businesses, and that was the real change that we went through in the early stages of franchising, and this from that we've experienced tremendous growth. I mean, from 2002 on, we've seen exceptional growth.
Yeah, that growth is really incredible, Jerry. I mean, and what was that attributed to, you think? I mean, was it just because it was a big market for the service of what you guys do? I mean, it is a wonderful service.
Well, it is. The industry itself has grown tremendously, but if you look at our franchise system, as it relates to the rest of the industry, we've seen some exceptional growth. And I think what happened is that, as I said earlier, we had to learn how to communicate. We had to learn how to be a franchisor, not just a closet company.
Right.
And in the early stages, we had to sit back and say, okay, what is it that we want to be, and how do we communicate? In 2002 or 2001, we were acquired by another company, and that lent us the opportunity to kind of sit back, where like most new young franchisors, you're looking to sell franchisees, right. And it's a strong part of the revenue stream. Well, we didn't have that. We didn't have that need for generating revenue by selling franchises, and we could sit back. And we said, what do we want to do? And we stopped selling franchises at that point. This was in 2001. And to kind of give you an idea, in 2001, we were doing about $17 million with the franchise system. That's not including the corporate. And we had about 17 franchisees. Well, we grew that. In that first year, we grew it to 26 franchisees in 2002. We focused a tremendous amount of our time on teaching the franchisees how to grow their business, the formulas for growth, understanding the key performance indicators, how to be profitable. And with that, there was a huge shift. In 2002, we had 26 franchisees, and we grew it from 23 million to 33 million in 1 year with 26 franchises. The next year, with the same 26 franchises, we went from 23 to 33. The following year, we went from 33 to 45 with the same number of franchises. Then from 45 to 55 with the same number of franchises. And then again in 2007 from 55 to 65.
Wow, that's amazing. And
then from 65 to 75, again with the same number of franchisees.
Wow.
So we had to figure it out, and let me tell you, it wasn't easy.
So you really fine-tuned the system.
Right.
Did some of those franchisees expand onto other locations, or was all out of their same office?
That's the same in-store sales.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, but we had to learn how to be a franchisor. And if there's one thing about franchising, it's a lot of franchisees or a lot of businesses franchise because they believe they have a good, strong business model. Yeah. But the key is how do you communicate that? How do you get your franchisees to grow?
Yeah, no, it's true, and it's an interesting point, Jerry. That you make. A lot of like new franchise systems. I think Don and I have seen this. Once you start franchising, you are hungry to sell that first franchise. And it seems like you guys were very selective. I guess getting acquired by that other company. And I think that's what you want to do. Of course, and I'm sure you'll talk about that. But being selective with your franchisees as well. It's so important because it is a relationship. So.
Exactly. I think that was probably one of the most important things that we had to focus on.
Yeah, it sounds like you had some great franchisees, with your system, which is just so important. So I think that's great.
We do.
So now you have everything going well. So when you have an investor who's looking at Closets by Design, how do you describe the franchise system to them now, Jerry?
Well, the first thing is that we make sure that they understand what we stand for, and it's not about our product. I mean, we do have the best product in the marketplace, but the reality is this is a business opportunity, and it's making sure that we discuss things that lead the conversation down the path of not only opportunity but the economics behind the business. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean that we're disclosing any more that's in our item 19. We stick to to what we can. But the important thing is that they understand what we focus on, and that what we're looking for is the right fit that understands how to manage a business, not just manufacture closets.
Mm-hmm.
How to manage people. Do they understand how to read a P&L?
Right.
Do they understand how to manage by P&L? We have franchisees that we've got a franchisee that was a CFO of a $250 million company. We have franchisees that were senior management at Fortune 500 companies. We're looking for people who want to grow a business and understand the economics behind it.
Right. Interesting. And you guys do have a very recognizable brand name too, Jerry. And the reason I said to my wife this morning that you guys were going to be on the show, and she knew who you were right away. So. She had some questions for you, but I said I'm not going to ask them on the show. But you guys do have a great brand. I would say that you guys are definitely the leader, in this industry. I think everyone knows who you are. And it must have been an interesting year. I mean, one of the words that we've used throughout 2009, Jerry, is we were talking a lot about like staycation. That people weren't really going on vacation as much anymore, and because the price of their houses went down. We found that a lot of people are kind of like investing more in their houses. Have you seen that too, enhancing their homes and things like that in 2009?
Yeah, we have. Obviously we all lost in the home improvement industry. Business that really wasn't there. The home buyers that were temporarily moving in and moving out.
Right.
But now what we're seeing is that people are taking pride of ownership, and they are sticking around, and they're remodeling.
Exactly.
And we've established a lot of consistency, and we see a real strong future for 2010.
That's interesting. And your franchisees, Jerry, I mean, it sounds like pretty diverse backgrounds. Has there been any interesting? I mean, a lot of them, what were they doing in their previous lives? I mean, you mentioned that some of them were working for corporate America and things like that, where we've seen a lot of that in 2009. And we're finding that. It seems like they make great franchisees as well. But have you seen that as well?
We have. A lot of people believe that because our franchisees are involved in the manufacturing of the product, that they need to have a manufacturing background, a woodworking background, and that's the last thing we're looking for.
Right.
Corporate America, breeds a sense of discipline that is really necessary in our business. And if a franchisee of ours is out in the back manufacturing, he's doing something wrong. Yeah, we do have a diverse background. Marketing and sales is a strong part of the business. It's a big focus for the franchisee. In managing people, we have franchisees that have as many as 50, 60 employees.
Wow.
So it's not a small venture.
That's great. One of the questions we've been asking on the show recently is has technology played a role in your business, Jerry?
It has. I said earlier, it's important to monitor the key performance indicators in this business. Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts, and especially in today's economy, it's really about efficiencies. Mm-hmm. Our focus is profitability, and it's difficult to monitor those efficiencies if you can't monitor the data.
Right.
And so technology has allowed us to really manage our business through, contact management systems and processes that we can monitor that help us make decisions and shift.
Right. That's interesting. And the numbers are there any numbers as far as how big the industry actually is, Jerry?
Well, there are. It's all wrapped up into the home organization, which includes different products, and the numbers that are being thrown around these days are the 7 billion range, which I think that might even be a little light.
Right.
So it is a large industry. I mean, like I said, in 1982 there were 3 of us in the industry, and now there's over 2,000 closet companies, and so it's definitely here to stay.
Absolutely, that's a pretty big industry.
Jerry, is that one of the reasons, Jerry? Excuse me, Marty. Is that one of the reasons why you kind of took a step back to build the infrastructure for a few years there with all that competition?
No, it really wasn't about the competition. It was about us learning how to be an effective franchisor.
Right. Jerry, we have to take a quick break. Are you able to stick around for another segment?
Great, sure.
That's fantastic. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Interviews. For over 2 years now, Franchise Interviews has been giving you an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship.
Through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising.
And our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, experts, and attorneys.
And our free franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919.
That's 610-905-2919. Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Hi everyone, happy holidays and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchisepreneur who owns one. I'm your host Marty McDermott with my co-host Don Johnson. If you ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show today. We're speaking with Jerry Egner, who is the CEO of Closets by Design. Since 1982, Closets by Design has built a reputation as the nation's leader in the closet organizing and storage remodeling industry. Hey Don, I think you're up.
Yeah, Jerry, I want to talk to you about training a little bit. Tell us what the franchisees have to go through.
Well, the franchisees first spend 2 weeks at our facility, and again, we spend time on understanding what drives the business, and not nearly as much time as one might think about manufacturing and installation.
Right.
After that, we spend 3 weeks at their facility. We have a team that goes out and works with them, helping their staff adjust, as well as training their first group of salespeople. to get out in the field. So it's pretty intensive. So the total of 5 weeks.
Wow. That's good.
Wow. Okay. And what's a typical day like for a franchisee?
Well, a franchisee is again managing the operations. It's a little different from market to market, given the size of each location. But primarily focusing on marketing, making sure that there's a marketing plan for the upcoming months, sales management, a lot of the franchise locations. But more importantly, dealing with the efficiencies that are really driving the bottom line, right. Identifying with whether or not they have an intentional plan to be profitable, rather than waiting and seeing to see whether or not it's going to happen.
What about the location, Jerry? I mean, is that a big factor in the whole franchise? Where do most of your franchisees work out of?
Well, the interesting thing is that location isn't important. Right. The customer doesn't come to us. We go to the customer.
Them, right.
Exactly. So, we're in industrial parks. We do have showrooms attached to each one of our locations for those that want to come and see. But that's not as important. So, in today's market, having to deal with real estate and obviously funding for brick and mortar, we're in industrial parks. It's not that difficult.
That's fantastic. The majority of our listeners are aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise. What would you say to them, Jerry, as far as your advice to them?
Well, first of all, understand why you're looking at a franchise and understand what you're looking for in a franchise. Are you looking at a concept because you think you like, the idea, it's fun, or are you looking at it for a return on your investment? I mean, what's the opportunity? I speak with a lot of prospective franchisees that really don't have an idea or a vision of what their life's going to be like, and they really haven't really thought through the economics behind it. So why are you getting into the franchise? What's this concept going to provide for you? The other thing is what's the total opportunity going to provide? Are you going to look at a franchise that offers multiple units? Are you going to be limited with your growth? And I think more importantly, due diligence. Understand the franchisor. Talk to as many franchisees as possible. Listen for things within the system. Look for consistency. Does the franchise system? Do you hear a culture that really speaks to again the driving force behind the business? Is there commonality, or are you hearing franchisees say it's a fun business? Yeah. I mean, if you want to have fun, go to the park. What do they say about the franchisor?
Right.
Are they speaking highly about their training and support? Are they speaking highly about the culture and the vision? Or are they talking about the franchisee being a nice guy? Right. If he's a nice guy, if you want a friend, buy a dog.
True.
Right.
That's good advice. And is that what you guys look for too? I mean, in your search, Jerry, when you're sitting down with a prospective franchisee and they express interest in your franchise, what are you looking for in them too, as far as interpersonal skills or?
Well, they have to have people skills because again, you're dealing with more than just a few employees. But more importantly, they have to understand the drivers. They have to understand or have a discipline. Right. I was listening to the tail end of your last segment. Are they trainable? Right. Are they going to follow a system? I think that's probably the most important. I visit with a lot of very intelligent, aggressive prospects, but I can tell that they're not willing to follow a system. Right. They want to recreate the wheel, and do they respect why they're buying a franchise? We have a very consistent culture within our organization, and are they going to fit?
Exactly.
And when those franchisees are doing the due diligence, Jerry, I guess the number one reason I guess they're thinking getting into a business is how do I get business? How am I going to sell? And I guess a lot of people don't always have sales experience. What's some of the support that Closet by Design does to help that new franchisee start out and get business? What are some of the things that you guys do?
Well, that's a very good question. First of all, everything that we do is based on programs and processes. So we don't, and let me kind of back up a minute. Our mantra is ATP, average trainable people. Yeah. What we're looking for is a system that a franchisee does not need to look for a certain skill set when building their infrastructure. Right. That the system itself provides the path. So when we hire salespeople, we're not looking for salespeople. We're looking for average trainable people that also are willing to follow a system. And then we teach those people how to follow that system, and then we have processes that help us identify whether or not that behavior in the home is being followed. So, again, it goes back to training the trainer and putting processes in place that allow the franchisees to hire average trainable people, put them through a process or a training course, send them out in the field, and then identify on a daily basis whether or not they are following that process. And we have indicators that allow us to see that. It's the same thing with the manufacturing and the installation process. We're not looking for carpenters. We're looking for average trainable people. So, and back to what I said earlier, it was early on for us, it was about identifying with how to be a good franchisor. It wasn't so much about how to teach people to manufacture closets or how to be a good closet company. It's about taking what we knew that we did well and canning it in a process to where we could hire average trainable people, follow processes, and keep it, systemize it. And that's really what's contributed to our growth.
And that's really the heart of franchising, I feel, because someone is going to maybe, there's fear involved with starting up a business, and sometimes there's lack of confidence if someone was downsized or whatever. So they're going to want exactly that, to take an average person and to teach them that closet by design system,
right,
and make them successful. So it seems like you really have a great handle on that, of course.
Well, we do, but again, like you said earlier, it's important to find the right person that's willing and able to follow the system.
Right.
If not, you could have the greatest system in the world. It's not going to work.
True.
They're going to go out there and they're just going to be another closet company.
Yeah.
And I explain that to people sometimes because I'm in financing, Jerry, and sometimes they ask me, well, what's the best franchise out there? What should I do? It's a two-way street. The franchisor has to accept you. People think, well,
right,
that's the franchise I want to do, and they assume that they're going to, if they have the franchise fee, that they're going to be able to be approved and be able to get that franchise. But there's a lot involved in the decision-making, going through all these different questions you got to ask if you want to be a franchisee, and then as the franchisor thinking if that person's the right fit. So there's a lot involved, but that is the core of it. Can that person follow a system?
Exactly.
This market is so huge, Jerry. I mean, how big? What are your plans for the future? How big would Closets by Design like to get?
Well, first of all, we have another 100 territories to sell. So I know that doesn't sound like a lot as it relates to franchising,
right,
but with 28 franchisees and the current volume that we're doing, that 100 locations is definitely room for tremendous growth. This next year, we've got a very conservative number, no less than 3, no more than 6.
Wow.
New franchisees. Again, to follow that same process and culture
right,
that allows us to bring in qualified candidates and strong, with a strong foundation. But we have a lot of room to grow, and at that pace, we'll speed it up in the future. But at that pace, we have a lot of room to grow.
That's fantastic. You don't want to get too big too fast. I think you guys got a great strategy. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information on becoming a franchisee in your system, Jerry?
Well, first of all, our website is closetsbydesign.com.
Okay.
There's a franchising link on that. Our phone number in California is 1-800-377-5737, and feel free to contact our development department and get the ball rolling and learn a little bit more about who we are, what we do, and move from there.
That's great. We'll put some links up on our show page as well, Jerry, so our listeners can get more information as well. And I want to thank you and wish you a happy holiday. You've been a fantastic guest, and Don and I would love to have you come back in 2010.
Great. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Happy holidays.
Thanks so much, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry. Great job.
Great show, huh, Don?
Yeah, it's refreshing hearing that a franchisor doesn't want to be adding 100 or 200 units the next year.
Absolutely.
I love hearing that he just wants to add a few, and those are some of your most successful franchises.
Oh, absolutely.
That's slow growth.
It definitely makes you comfortable with their franchise system, that's for sure,
Right.
It's such a huge market, It's,
that was very impressive, the growth, staying at the same amount of franchisees.
I know, it says a lot, doesn't it? When you're looking, I was writing down those numbers, I'm like, looking at the growth, it's just incredible, It's fantastic. So, good job today, Don. You did a nice job on segment 1, and for our listeners, go to franchiseinterviews.com. gofranchise.com, franchisefunding.net. Don and I would like to wish everybody a happy holiday, a safe New Year, and we're going to be running a lot of archive shows over the next week or so, Don. You know, we're going to do like a 12 days of Christmas or 7 days of Christmas kind of thing, or, 7 days of franchising. And so our listeners are going to get to hear some great recorded shows that we did this year and in the past as well. So keep checking in on the show page, and you're going to have some wonderful surprises, And again, Happy New Year to you, Don. Happy holidays, and good job this year.
Have a great time with your family, Marty.
Thanks, Don. I'll be talking to you in 2010.
Great.
Take care, Don.
See you later.
Bye-bye.